On my
Good
mark.
afternoon.
On my mark.
Okay.
On three, two, one. Pause for 3 seconds.
Good afternoon. My name is Nicole Badamosi, and we are here with Beauty Lifestyle Network. We have a huge treat for you today. We have the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Kevin Cole, a world renowned artist. Kevin, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting
Yeah, very happy to have you. So, Kevin, you have been in the art world for a very long time. Can you just kind of give us an overview? I know you hail from Arkansas, but what even brought you into the art world?
Well, I mean, it's a long story, but a short story. Um, at a very early age, I did, well, my mom discovered I, I had a speech impediment. So whenever I would come home and tell her that I had a bad day, she would tell me, go make mama a picture. So I made mama a lot of pictures.
That's
And
awesome.
that's how I really got involved in arts. She was very, very encouraging that I do get involved in the arts.
That's amazing. And you know what's so funny? It always starts with the mother. Females have a very, very important place, not only in the work that you have done,
Right.
but the work that you're doing right now, some of the series that you're currently doing. So let's jump right into it. I really want to start with your beginnings. We know you hail from Arkansas, and we understand that your mother was like the catalyst that really got you going into your artwork.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about the Necktie series. Because
Well,
the Necktie series is very interesting. How did that begin? Because that started back in Arkansas as well.
it started in Arkansas. I would say it really started during my undergrad year at the University of Arkansas in Pine Bluff, which is HBC. And later on, I attended grad school at the University of Illinois, Champaign, Urbana. And then I received my Master of Fine Arts in drawing from Northern Illinois University. So then my grandfather passed in the late, I want to say late 80s. And I've always kept a diary, you know. But whenever I graduated from high school, I didn't want to go register to vote. He was 91 years old and he walked with a cane. So he sent me to an area where there were a bunch of trees near his property. And I went there and I told him I had to scare him. And then he went back there with me. And he informed me that African Americans had been lynched by their neckties and the vote. And later on in '93, there was a book that came out called Without Sanctions. And they actually documented the lynching that took place close to his property. And a little bit later, I started doing research on lynching, and the Legacy Museum in Montgomery had several documentation of markers of African Americans that were lynched near his property.
Oh wow! So he wasn't lying. He told you that's what
No,
really happened there.
that's what really happened.
Goodness gracious! So you took that story and from a young black male who didn't want to vote, and then you understood the importance of voting within
Yes.
your community. You continue that story throughout your career. So can you tell me a little bit about your career in education? Because I feel like education is part of that benchmark. I know you always tell me you need to read more,
Right.
right? Make sure you read as many books
Exactly.
as you can. And you have a master's in fine art.
Right.
So talk to me a little bit about your education because you started out in Fulton County Schools in
Yes, I
Camp
did.
Cree, right?
Yeah, I started up at Camp Creek Middle School. I was recruited for the magnet program at Tri Cities, and it was going to take them a few years to get it started. So my first year at Camp Creek, uh, the school was not ready. I was teaching in the hallway, and they would announce where my class would be every morning. And it was ironic. My first year teaching, I was teacher of the year at that school.
Oh wow.
So a little bit later, I was I was surplus because they didn't have the enrollment had gone down at Camp Creek. So then I went to Woodland Middle School, and my second year there, I was teacher of the year there. And so then the magnet program at Tri Cities, it came up, the school that I was supposed to be at, and I worked there uh, then after that, I took a 2-year leave of absence in order to do a 15-story mural for 1996 Olympic Games.
Let's stop there for a second because we want to continue because you not only did you do stuff within the primary schools, you went on to college and became an adjunct professor,
Georgia
right?
State, yes.
But let's talk about that mural that you did because that's really what put you on the main frame. You did the Centennial Olympic mural, and so that was a 15-story mural that you did of some of the forgotten heroes, right?
Yes.
You patented that. I mean, that is something that was way beyond your time. A lot of artists weren't even patenting their work.
Right.
Tell me about that process. What did it take to get to that point?
Well, I was sitting in my other studio downtown, and I was represented by the McIntosh Gallery. And she called me and she said, your name keep coming up of a person who could execute large scale piece of art. And when she said 15 stories, I'm like, I'm afraid of height. So my whole thing was, how do you do a 15-story mural and never touch the wall? And what they wanted was to feature the unsung heroes of Georgia. If you wanted your face to be on the wall, somebody would have to have written a 200-word essay saying why your face should be on the wall, all the things that you had accomplished. So in the process, I kept saying, well, how can I do this mural? And I talked to a sign painter by the name of Rick McClung. They would tell me how they put up billboards. So I came in the meeting. I told them how many days it rained in Atlanta from 1990 to 1994. How many days it snowed in Atlanta from 1990 to 1994. And how many days it was over 80 degrees. How many days it was under 40 degrees. Said there's no way you can have anybody suspended from a wall, painting their scaffold in time for the Olympics. Said, let me introduce you to a vinyl. It'll last from 7 to 10 years. And I've already identified some people who would install it. And their concept of the mural was they wanted to feature every 3 months there would be faces that would appear on this wall. So the concept was excellent, and I got the project.
Oh my gosh. So wait a second. This was something that you were able to think of. So this wasn't a mural that you just sat up there and painted a wall. You weren't like Picasso suspended from a right. It wasn't what happened. So how did that happen? Did you have to rent a warehouse? Like
They
what was
they provided me a studio space. I had to have at least 16 to 18 foot ceilings because each person's head would be exactly at least from the top of the forehead to the bottom of the chin, at least 12 feet, depending on the size of the person.
oh my god.
So there was a lot of math that was involved, and also I made sure I asked them that if I could hire some of my students, and so that was important to me as a mentor because I grew up in Arkansas with Terrence Corbin, who mentored me, and that's how we got the mural done. It was 2 years, 6 months, 17 days, 14 hours, and 33 minutes.
Oh my gosh. You got that
Yeah,
down to the
From the time we started, and because we actually started in '94. No, we started in '93. It was right after they had given Atlanta the bid, and that they were contacting people, and I started doing my research then on
yeah.
how I could get it done.
That's amazing. And so I want to talk a little bit about your students, right? How many students were a part of this project?
It was 5 students, and then I brought 2 other artists along the way who were young artists that I wanted to give them the experience of working on a project just like this.
See, that's why I love so much about your work because you're not concerned just about yourself. You give a lot of people the stage for themselves as well. So you're actually responsible for some people's real career here in Atlanta. I want to talk about one in particular, one that's close to my heart. I know his work. I own some of his pieces. Derek Phillips Sr.
Yes.
So Derek was a student that you started mentoring at what age?
He was in the 7th grade.
He's in the 7th grade, and you still mentor
And
Derek.
he's still my assistant. He's worked with me on every major project I've done. The project for the Olympics, one at the airport, the one for Henry Ford Cancer Center in Detroit, several other projects that I've worked on. And we still are close now.
Yes, and he's
Very, very
amazing.
close.
He's one of the best, like,
Best kept secret.
yes, he's the best kept secret.
Yeah.
So look, y'all, make sure you check out Derek Phillips Sr. definitely, because Kevin has a lot to do with that, but Derek is an amazing artist by himself. I want to talk a little bit more into your career too, because you also mentor a lot of females,
Yes.
and I think that kind of started more so in your college career, correct?
Yes. Yes.
So you started with Georgia State, am I correct
I
there? Scad?
taught at Georgia State and SCAD. Well, because when you look at it, the late Mildred Thompson, she was very, very influential in a series of works I started. And if you knew Mildred, Mildred had a home way, you know. And one of the things I remember about her, I invited her to the studio, and she was a smoker. She said, "If I can't smoke, I'm not coming." So she one of the few people that I allowed to smoke in my studio, and we stayed there for hours, and we became very good friends. But when you look at it, even now, some of the best work is being done by African American women.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
You're absolutely right. I mean, you have a whole series that's a homage to women and
Yeah.
their work in the arts called the Blanket series, and one more recently that I want you to discuss a little bit about too.
well, that series about women, I was entitled "For the Sisters Who Carry the Burdens of Other Sisters."
Wait, say it again.
For the sisters who carry the burdens of other sisters.
How beautiful is that?
And so I was doing a visiting artist at the Des Moines Arts Center in Des Moines, Iowa. And on Saturdays, I taught a group of 11-year-old and 12-year-old. So these were all white kids. So actually, name me one major African American female who made major contributions to America. Only one they could name was Oprah Winfrey. So I had them to do research on Billie Holiday, Rosa Parks, Catherine Dunham, a list of black women. And at the same time, I introduced to them Sweet Honey in the Rock, who's a a cappella group that speaks about the struggle of women.
Yeah.
So then when they did their research, I had them to actually use a lot of the Dickerson was the best describe these women. In the meantime, I kept their research papers, and I enclosed them in these time capsules, and the pieces hang about 6 feet tall.
Wow.
There were some that were 4 feet, but the series I enjoy. But those kids, I heard from a few of them said they learned first about African American women, and it wasn't Black History Month.
Like February, right? Look, that is amazing. And not only that, that you were able to influence children who probably wouldn't be influenced by that.
Right. Exactly.
So this new series that you're doing, it's very colorful, a lot of different features, a lot of different construction pieces of it. What are the significance of how you put the work together that actually correlates to Black women? I mean, you have the work in there, but tell me a little bit about how it's structurally designed.
I wanted them to be scrolls because when you think about a scroll, it gives across information. But I wanted the colors to some way convey the same thing, but using African patterns from the kente cloth and from the Adinka cloth, various symbols.
Oh, wow. That's really powerful. Well, it's great that you bring that up because Africa is a very matriarchal society. I
Yes.
think that there's a misconception where they think that women play a very little part in society, but they play a huge role
Right.
in how society is run.
That's the people getting the thing.
Food.
Yeah.
Okay. They play a huge part of that piece. So that being said, like now that you're in SCAD, you're in Georgia State, like
Yeah, let me
edit
cut
that
this
out.
Yeah. Let me
Hold
cut
on,
it out.
stop that for a second. We're gonna cut it.